Before it became the coldest, driest, and most mysterious place on Earth, Antarctica was alive. Not the icy void we imagine today, but a world of fire, forests, and creatures that no human eye has ever seen hundreds of millions of years ago. The bottom of our planet looked nothing like it does now. There was no South Pole, no endless night, no kingdom of ice. Instead, the land that would one day become Antarctica was a piece of a massive ancient supercontinent. Gondwana, connected to Africa, India, South America, and Australia. It was lush, it was green, it was warm. Imagine towering ferns the height of houses, rivers that carved valleys through black volcanic stone, and giant insects humming in the thick prehistoric air. Temperatures here were once like those in modern New Zealand or Chile, mild, wet, and full of life. But even then, under that canopy of life, something was shifting. Deep within the earth, unseen forces began tugging at the edges of Gondwana. Tectonic plates moved, splitting continents apart like slow-motion explosions. Volcanoes rose and fell, entire mountain chains crumbled, and somewhere in that chaos, Antarctica began its long journey toward isolation, toward the bottom of the world. Around 180 million years ago, the Great Breakup began. Gondwana started to tear itself apart. One by one, the continents drifted away, Africa to the northwest, India racing northward toward Asia, and Australia peeling off toward the east. Antarctica was left behind, alone. It began moving southward, inch by inch, into colder and darker latitudes. But for millions of years, it remained green. Fossilized wood and the remains of temperate plants show that forests still grew here, even close to the South Pole. Yes, forests at the South Pole. During the summer months, the sun barely dipped below the horizon, bathing the land in an eternal twilight. Trees adapted to months of sunlight and months of darkness, their rings showing strange growth patterns that baffled scientists millions of years later. And among those trees lived dinosaurs, Antarctic giants, adapted to a world of extremes. Fossil hunters have uncovered their bones near the Transantarctic mountains. Creatures like Cryolophosaurus, the frozen crested lizard, a predator nearly 7 meters long that stalked the forests during the early Jurassic. So, when we say Antarctica, we're not talking about a land that was always dead or frozen. We're talking about a world that lived, thrived, and then slowly was entombed. Fast forward to around 34 million years ago. The Earth was changing again. A global cooling event began, subtle at first, but unstoppable. Volcanoes and shifting ocean currents altered the planet's balance. The Drake Passage opened between South America and Antarctica, creating a vast oceanic current, the Antarctic Circumpolar Current, and that current changed everything. It circled the continent like a cold, liquid wall, isolating it completely from warmer waters. The temperatures plunged, the forests began to die. The rains turned to snow, and the snow never melted. Year after year, it accumulated layers of white, burying the land deeper and deeper beneath its own frozen history. Antarctica entered its long sleep. By 15 million years ago, ice sheets covered nearly everything. Mountains disappeared beneath glaciers kilometers thick. Valleys turned into frozen tombs. Rivers of ice flowed slower than time itself, carving the continent's silent heart. This was the birth of the Antarctica we know, the great white desert at the bottom of the world. But the story doesn't end there, because under that ice, the old world never completely vanished. Beneath those kilometers of frozen weight, Antarctica still hides the traces of its green past. Entire fossilized forests perfectly preserved, ancient lake beds, and even the outlines of mountains no human has ever seen. In fact, satellites have revealed something astonishing: a whole mountain range buried beneath the ice, the Gamberts of mountains, the size of the Alps, but invisible to the naked eye. Their peaks are entombed under more than a mile of ice, their valleys untouched for tens of millions of years. And no one truly knows what secrets lie inside them. Scientists have drilled deep ice cores here, pulling up cylinders of ice older than humanity itself. Tiny frozen time capsules holding air bubbles from the prehistoric atmosphere. By analyzing them, we've learned how Earth's climate has shifted, frozen, and thawed over millions of years. Antarctica, in other words, is not just a continent, it's a time machine. Each layer of ice is a page in Earth's autobiography. Each bubble tells a story of volcanoes, extinction, and rebirth. And perhaps, just perhaps, it tells us where our own story might end. Asterisk, asterisk, but let's not forget, Antarctica isn't just frozen water, it's land. Beneath the miles of ice lies an entire continent roughly the size of the United States and Mexico combined. It has mountain ranges, valleys, canyons deeper than the Grand Canyon, and lakes sealed off from the surface for millions of years, places where life may have evolved in total darkness. And as technology advanced, radar mapping, ice-penetrating satellites, and subglacial exploration, scientists began to see beneath the veil. What they found changed everything we thought we knew. Some lakes beneath the ice, like Lake Vostok, contain water that's been isolated for over 15 million years. No sunlight, no contact with the outside world. Yet, inside these lakes, researchers discovered traces of microbial life, organisms that somehow survived in temperatures below freezing, under pressures greater than the deepest ocean trenches. If life can survive there, in such conditions, could it also exist beneath the icy crusts of moons like Europa or Enceladus? Antarctica, it turns out, may be our closest link to alien life. Right here on Earth, asterisk, asterisk, so from fiery birth to icy tomb. The story of Antarctica is a story of transformation. It began as a cradle of forests home to dinosaurs and swamps, and slowly became a mirror, reflecting Earth's changing heartbeat. Its ice records every breath our planet has taken, every exhale of carbon and ash dot, and though it now seems frozen and lifeless, beneath its surface, the past still breathes. The frozen continent at the bottom of the world holds the key to Earth's beginnings, and maybe to its end, asterisk, asterisk, but the story is only beginning, because for all we know about Antarctica's ancient past, what happened when humans finally found it is something else entirely. From here, the tale shifts from geology and time to human ambition, obsession, and survival. The next chapter belongs to explorers, men who risked everything to reach a place no one had ever seen. And for some, it would be the last place they'd ever see. For most of human history, Antarctica was nothing more than a myth, a ghost continent at the bottom of the map. Ancient philosophers like Aristotle and Ptolemy believed it had to exist. They called it Terra Australis Incognita, the unknown southern land. Why did they believe in it? Because they thought the Earth needed balance. If there was land in the north, there had to be land in the south to keep the world steady. But no one had seen it. Not even the boldest sailors dared sail so far into the cold, into the storms and endless emptiness of the southern oceans. For centuries, Antarctica was imagination, a blank space filled with dragons, demons, and sea serpents in the corners of old maps. Asterisk, asterisk, then came the age of exploration, the 15th through 18th centuries, when the world's great powers began to circle the globe, the Portuguese, the Dutch, the British, all of them searching for new lands, new trade routes, and new riches. And every time a ship sailed farther south, the mystery of that unknown southern land grew deeper. In 1773, Captain James Cook, one of history's greatest navigators, became the first person to cross the Antarctic Circle. His ship, the Resolution, fought through terrifying storms, ice floes, and bitter winds. Cook never saw the continent itself. The ice kept him hundreds of miles away, but he saw enough to write this. I make bold to declare that the world will derive no benefit from the discovery of this southern land. It is a country doomed by nature to perpetual frigidness. To Cook, Antarctica was a nightmare, a white wasteland of death. But ironically, his failure sparked curiosity. If he couldn't reach it, others wanted to try. The 19th century arrived, and with it, the age of obsession. Sealing ships and whaling vessels began venturing south, following the great whales into the freezing waters. Their crews were rough men, hunters, dreamers, sometimes fugitives from justice, chasing fortune in the most dangerous seas on Earth. In 1820, 3 different expeditions, one Russian, one British, and one American, all claimed to have sighted the Antarctic continent within months of each other. The world finally knew the southern land was real. And once something is real, humans want to conquer it. By the dawn of the 20th century, Antarctica had become the ultimate prize for explorers, the last blank spot on Earth. Men from Britain, Norway, and beyond were drawn to it like moths to flame. Their names would become legends: Ernest Shackleton, Robert Falcon Scott, Roald Amundsen. These were not adventures in comfort. They faced temperatures that froze metal solid, winds strong enough to rip tents apart, and blizzards that lasted weeks. There were no radios, no rescue missions, no maps. Once they left their ships, they were alone, tiny figures crossing a white infinity. Their goal, to be the first humans to stand at the South Pole. The race began quietly, in whispers and rivalries. In 1910, 2 expeditions set out almost simultaneously. From Norway came Roald Amundsen, a quiet, calculating man who had already conquered the Northwest Passage. He was a master of preparation, trained by the Inuit to survive in polar conditions. From Britain came Captain Robert Falcon Scott, a naval officer and national hero. His expedition was grander, scientific, and deeply patriotic. He believed that reaching the pole first would bring glory to the British Empire. They set out unaware of each other's exact plans. To men chasing the same dream across an ocean of ice. Amundsen sailed aboard the Fram, heading for the Bay of Whales, the closest landing point to the pole. His team used sled dogs and carefully built supply depots along the way. Scott, commanding the Terra Nova, landed further north on Ross Island. His plan was more complex: motor sledges, ponies, and manpower. It was ambitious, scientific, and doomed by its own optimism. By late 1911, both teams were deep into the frozen interior. Temperatures dropped below -40°C. Every mile was a fight against exhaustion and frostbite. The ice played tricks, endless horizons that never seemed to move, and winds that screamed like living things. For Amundsen, the journey was hard but efficient. He trusted his dogs and the methods of the Arctic peoples. For Scott, it became a struggle for survival. On December 14, 1911, Amundsen and his team reached the South Pole. They planted the Norwegian flag, took photographs, and left a letter for Scott, knowing that their rivals would arrive later. They had done it. The bottom of the world was no longer untouched. Amundsen's team turned back and made it safely home. Every man alive. A month later, on January 17, 1912, Scott and his men finally reached the pole. And there, fluttering in the wind, they found the Norwegian flag. Scott's diary captured his heartbreak. The worst has happened. All the daydreams must go. Great God, this is an awful place and terrible enough for us to have labored to it without the reward of priority. They were beaten, but their ordeal was only beginning. The journey back was a slow-motion tragedy. The blizzards grew worse, food ran low, and one by one, the men began to collapse. Captain Oates, frostbitten and near death, famously said, "I am just going outside and maybe some time." He walked into the blizzard to die, hoping to save the others. Scott and his remaining companions pressed on until they could go no farther. Their final camp was found months later, buried in snow, their bodies frozen beside their journals. In those journals, Scott wrote his last words: "We took risks. We knew we took them. We have had no luck, but we shall stick it out to the end." They died just 11 miles from a supply depot. The world mourned them as heroes, brave men who gave their lives for knowledge, for glory, for the human spirit of exploration. Amundsen returned home a victor, but history was more complex. In the years that followed, it was Scott's doomed courage, not Amundsen's success, that captured the public imagination. The British saw him as a symbol of endurance and honor, a man who faced death with dignity. And perhaps that's the real story of the age of Antarctic discovery. It wasn't just about reaching a point on a map. It was about testing what it means to be human, to walk willingly into the unknown, knowing you may never return. In the decades that followed, others would come, scientists, aviators, soldiers, but none would match the sheer madness of those early explorers. They mapped the coastlines, named the mountains, and began to understand the scale of the frozen continent. What had once been the unknown southern land was now a real place, deadly, beautiful, and incomprehensibly vast. By the mid-20th century, Antarctica would no longer belong to heroes and dreamers. It would become a frontier of science, and later, a stage for geopolitics and secrets that reached far beyond ice and snow. But all of that began here, with the sound of boots crunching over ice, flags fluttering in endless wind, and the unbreakable will of those who first dared to go where no one else would. Because beneath the surface of this story, and beneath the ice itself, something else was waiting: hidden mountains, lost lakes, strange magnetic readings, things no explorer could have imagined. In the next chapter, we go beneath Antarctica to see what has been hiding under the ice for millions of years. Antarctica looks simple from space, a white sheet, smooth and endless. But beneath its surface lies another world entirely, a hidden planet within our own. To understand what's below the ice, scientists had to learn how to see through it. For most of human history, that was impossible. The ice was too thick, too vast, and too remote. But with radar, satellites, and seismic mapping, we finally began to peel back the layers. What we discovered was staggering. Under the ice are mountains, entire mountain ranges, buried for millions of years. The most haunting of these is the Gamburtsov Subglacial Mountains, discovered by Soviet scientists in the 1950s. They stretch more than 1,200 kilometers, with peaks as tall as the Alps. Yet no human eye has ever seen them directly. They lie under almost 3 kilometers of ice, perfectly preserved and touched since before the first mammals walked the earth. How could mountains like this even exist under such pressure? How did they form? No one is entirely sure. Some theories say they are the eroded remains of an ancient chain older than the Himalayas, reborn through tectonic uplift before being sealed in ice. Others believe they hide clues to how Antarctica's glaciers first began. If the ice melted, these mountains would rise again into the daylight. But perhaps they never will. Between these buried peaks are deep valleys, canyons, and something even stranger, lakes. Yes, beneath miles of solid ice, there are liquid lakes, sealed away in total darkness, cut off from the surface for millions of years. The most famous is Lake Vostok, discovered in the 1990s beneath the Russian research station of the same name. It's one of the largest lakes on Earth, roughly the size of Lake Ontario, and it sits under nearly 4,000 meters of ice. How can it stay liquid under such crushing cold? The answer lies in pressure and heat. The weight of the ice creates immense pressure, lowering the freezing point of water. Below that, geothermal heat from the Earth's interior keeps the lake just warm enough to remain liquid. In this dark, sealed chamber, no light, no air, no contact with the outside world, life might still exist. When Russian scientists finally drilled into Lake Vostok in 2012, the world held its breath. The core samples they extracted contained microscopic traces of living organisms, bacteria, possibly even unknown species. Some scientists cautioned that they might be contaminants from the drill, but others believed we had just glimpsed something extraordinary, life that had evolved in total isolation for millions of years. Imagine what that means, an entire biosphere trapped beneath the ice since before humans existed, evolving in secret. Lake Vostok isn't alone. More than 400 subglacial lakes have now been discovered under Antarctica, connected by hidden rivers that flow slowly between them. These lakes form a vast underground water network, an invisible circulation system that no one suspected existed a generation ago. In the darkness below the ice, Antarctica is alive in ways we are only beginning to understand. To explore that hidden world, scientists use tools that sound almost like science fiction. Satellites bounce radar signals off the ice, reading the shapes and textures beneath. Drones and autonomous submarines follow the magnetic signatures of buried valleys. And what they've found suggests Antarctica's underworld may be more dynamic than the surface above it. There are rivers, hundreds of kilometers long, that flow beneath the ice sheets. They are fed by melting water from the base of glaciers, created by friction and geothermal heat. These rivers lubricate the ice, letting it slide slowly toward the ocean. One of them, beneath the Thwaites Glacier, sometimes called the Doomsday Glacier, could determine the future of our planet's coastlines. As climate change accelerates and warm ocean currents erode the glacier's underside, the hidden rivers are speeding its retreat. If Thwaites collapses, it could raise global sea levels by more than half a meter, enough to redraw every shoreline on Earth. But there's something even older, even stranger, beneath all of that. Under the ice sheet lies a buried landscape, a fossilized version of an ancient Antarctica, frozen in time. Radar mapping has revealed what looks like the ghost of a lost continent. Ridges, floodplains, and river deltas preserved beneath the ice like an ancient photograph. Scientists believe this was the landscape of the last ice-free Antarctica, perhaps 30 million years ago, before the ice took over. In some regions, they've even detected signs of sedimentary basins, layers of material that could hold the remains of ancient forests or even trapped carbon. In other words, under the ice there may be entire fossil ecosystems, tree stumps, pollen, perhaps even evidence of life as it was when the continent was green. That buried world is a memory of a time when Antarctica was alive, and it may still have more stories to tell, and then there's the magnetism. When satellites began mapping the continent's magnetic field, they found something unexpected, strange anomalies. Beneath the eastern ice sheet, near Lake Vostok, sensors detected unusual magnetic readings, far stronger than surrounding areas. At first, scientists thought it might be caused by a concentration of metallic minerals, perhaps an impact crater or volcanic activity deep below. Later studies suggested a circular feature nearly 300 kilometers wide buried beneath the ice, possibly the remains of an ancient asteroid impact. If that's true, it would be one of the largest impact structures on Earth, older than the one that killed the dinosaurs. The idea remains debated, but if confirmed, it would mean that Antarctica hides not only geological wonders, but also the scars of cosmic events that shaped our planet's history. Even with all our technology, we've explored only the shallowest parts of this hidden world. The thickest ice in East Antarctica is over 4.7 kilometers deep, a vertical distance greater than Mount Everest is tall. At those depths, pressure is immense, the temperature near absolute freezing. Yet, as scientists dig deeper, they continue to find hints of activity, heat flow, trapped methane, even signs of microbial metabolism. Some of that life may be ancient, preserved in suspended animation. Some may still be living, feeding on minerals, exchanging energy in ways we can barely imagine. To understand them is to understand how life endures, not just on Earth, but anywhere. In 2019, a team drilled into another hidden lake, Lake Mercer, nearly a kilometer beneath the ice. What they found shocked even the experts. The sediments at the bottom contained fossils of diatoms, microscopic algae that live in sunlight, proof that this region was once a coastal environment with open water. Mixed in with the sediments were the remains of tiny animals, fragments of crustaceans and tardigrades, long thought to have perished millions of years ago. It was as if the ice had sealed a time capsule, a record of a world that existed before the deep freeze. Asterisk, every discovery beneath the ice raises a bigger question. What if the continent's greatest mysteries aren't dead, but simply sleeping? The more we learn, the more we realize Antarctica is not static. It breathes. Its glaciers move, its lakes pulse, its hidden rivers flow. And as climate change accelerates, that sleeping world is stirring. In some areas, radar has detected ancient ice melting for the first time in millions of years. New lakes are forming. Subglacial rivers are awakening. We are watching the continents. Buried systems come back to life, systems that could release ancient microbes or gases trapped since before humanity existed. Antarctica is not just a relic of the past. It is a mirror of the planet's future. If we can understand what lies beneath, we can glimpse how Earth's climate will evolve, how life adapts to extremes, and what might await us in the cold places beyond our world. Because what's under the Antarctic ice isn't just frozen water, it's the memory of the Earth itself. But while scientists uncovered these natural wonders, others began to whisper about something else, something more human. As the 20th century deepened, Antarctica became not just a place of science, but of secrecy. Whispers of hidden bases, forbidden zones, and unanswered questions began to circulate, stories that mixed fact with myth. And so our story now crosses from the realm of discovery into the realm of mystery. Antarctica has always inspired fascination and fear, a place so remote, so inhospitable, that only the bravest or the most desperate ventured there. But as humans began to explore its frozen surface, whispers began to circulate, stories that mixed truth with legend, science with speculation. Some of the earliest secrets were born during the early 20th century expeditions. Captain Scott, Roald Amundsen, and Ernest Shackleton had traversed ice plains no human had ever crossed, mapping mountains, glaciers, and lakes. Their diaries hinted at difficulties beyond imagination, storms that could kill instantly, ice that shifted like living walls, and strange magnetic readings that puzzled scientists. From these real events, myth began to grow. The ice itself became a canvas for imagination, a place where the impossible seemed plausible. During the Cold War, Antarctica took on a new dimension of secrecy. Governments realized this remote continent was not just a scientific curiosity, it was a strategic asset. The United States, the Soviet Union, and later other nations established research bases, sometimes in areas difficult for the public to observe. In 1946-1947, the U.S. launched Operation High Jump, one of the largest Antarctic expeditions ever undertaken. Led by Admiral Richard Byrd, it involved more than 4,000 personnel, dozens of ships, and extensive aerial surveys. Officially, the mission focused on mapping, training, and scientific research, but the scale and secrecy fueled speculation. People asked, why send so many troops, aircraft, and ships to a continent that was supposedly just ice? Could there be something hidden waiting under the snow? Around the same time, myths began to intertwine with darker stories. During World War II, rumors circulated that Nazi Germany had sent secret expeditions to Antarctica. Some claimed they were scouting for bases or resources. Others suggested they were searching for lost technology, airships, secret weapons, even entrances to hidden lands beneath the ice. There is truth in part of the story. In 1938-1939, the Germans sent the Schwabenland expedition to Antarctica, claiming territory they called New Swabia. Their goals were strategic and scientific, mapping regions, searching for whales, and testing aircraft in extreme conditions. They left flags and markers, but there is no evidence of secret underground bases or supernatural discoveries. Yet the myth persisted, amplified by post-war rumors and speculative books. Antarctica became a perfect backdrop for imagination, a continent untouched, hidden, and seemingly capable of holding incredible secrets. Even today, the myths are intertwined with real science. For instance, in 2016, researchers discovered a subglacial mountain range and a hotspot under the ice. The press headlines sensationalized it. Some called it a hidden volcano or even a lost land. In reality, the discovery was a critical piece of Earth's geological puzzle. But the way it was reported fed centuries of speculation. The idea that Antarctica might harbor unknown realms, underground cities, or hidden life forms. Other myths come from UFO and alien theories, which often cite radar anomalies or strange magnetic readings in East Antarctica. Scientists studying these anomalies are careful to point out natural explanations: iron-rich rocks, ice flow, and tectonic structures. Yet, the combination of extreme isolation, mysterious landscapes, and poor visibility fuels the imagination. One of the most enduring legends is the idea of hidden bases, whether Nazi, alien, or secret modern military installations. In reality, most human presence on the continent is public and scientific. Research stations are mapped, monitored, and regulated under the Antarctic Treaty, which came into effect in 1961. Military activity is banned. Bases belong to nations like the United States, Russia, Argentina, and Australia, and their work focuses on climate science, glaciology, and biology. But myths are hard to kill. They thrive in isolation. A satellite image of an outpost, a glint on ice, or an unexplained radar reading can reignite centuries-old stories of secret knowledge hidden beneath the ice. There are also mysteries rooted in real science. Anomalies that make the continent feel alive. Subglacial lakes, like Lake Vostok, had never seen sunlight. Some are tens of millions of years old, isolated from the surface. Early Russian and British scientists speculated wildly about what life might exist there. Could there be unknown microbial ecosystems? Could some larger organism survive in complete darkness, trapped for years? When samples were finally obtained, they contained microbial life, simple but resilient. Yet these discoveries reminded the world, Antarctica is not just a desert. It is a laboratory of extremes, a place where life adapts in ways we are only beginning to understand. Even the ice itself can be deceptive. Radar imaging has revealed buried valleys, mountains, and ancient rivers, creating landscapes as dramatic as the Alps, all hidden under miles of solid ice. These discoveries, while entirely scientific, read like something out of a legend. A hidden kingdom of stone and water, invisible to human eyes, and in the imagination of humankind, these features became secret worlds, often embellished into stories of subterranean cities or lost civilizations. While there is no evidence of ancient human settlements, the sheer scale of the continent makes it plausible in fiction. The vastness alone allows for mystery. Antarctica's real secrets are also geopolitical. During the mid-20th century, nations began claiming territory. The United Kingdom, Chile, and Argentina established overlapping claims. The United States and the Soviet Union maintained a careful silence, reserving the right to make claims if they wished. The Antarctic Treaty System, signed in 1959, froze all territorial claims and designated the continent as a place for peace and science. Military operations were banned, mining prohibited, and scientific cooperation encouraged. Yet, the secrecy surrounding research bases, some located in extreme, hard-to-access regions, continued to fuel speculation. Even today, unmanned research stations and automated instruments transmit data from remote valleys that no human may see for months at a time. To the public, these stations are mysterious, and sometimes stories take on a life of their own. There is a truth here, one more powerful than any myth. Antarctica is one of the few places on Earth where human knowledge still meets the unknown. It is a continent where the rules of the surface world, politics, borders, civilization, fade beneath the ice. Here, nature is supreme. Here, ancient lakes, hidden rivers, and buried mountains remain largely untouched. Here, the line between science and mystery blurs. In other words, the myths are not entirely fiction. They are born from the truth of Antarctica's extremes, amplified by imagination. A place so vast, so cold, and so alien, that even scientists sometimes feel as if they are stepping onto another planet. So when people talk about secret Nazi bases, UFOs, or underground civilizations, the reality is more subtle, more awe-inspiring. Antarctica's secrets are not conspiracies. They are the stories the Earth has written in ice, waiting for humans to decode. And decoding them is only getting harder and more urgent, because as ice sheets melt and hidden lakes awaken, we are starting to see not only the past but also the potential consequences for the future. Life forms that have survived for millions of years may emerge. Ancient carbon locked beneath glaciers could enter the atmosphere. Entire ecosystems frozen in time may confront a changing planet for the first time. Antarctica, it seems, has secrets beyond legend, and they may shape the world in ways we cannot yet imagine. In the next chapter, we leave myths behind or perhaps confront them in reality. The story shifts to politics, science, and human ambition, the Antarctic Treaty, modern research, and the nations vying for control of the last frontier. Because even if Antarctica's legends are only half true, its real secrets are more important than anyone ever imagined. By the mid-20th century, Antarctica had transformed from a land of exploration and myth into a stage for global politics. Nations recognized what earlier explorers could only imagine. The continent was a strategic frontier, a reserve of untapped resources, and a laboratory for understanding the Earth's climate. During World War II and the early Cold War, the race for presence intensified. The United States launched Operation High Jump in 1946, a massive expedition involving thousands of troops, ships, and aircraft. The Soviet Union began to establish its own research footholds, and other nations quietly surveyed potential claims. For the first time, Antarctica was not just about discovery, it was about control, influence, and future power. In 1959, representatives from 12 nations came together to sign a historic agreement, the Antarctic Treaty. This treaty would change the course of the continent's story forever. It was simple, yet revolutionary. Antarctica would be used only for peaceful purposes. Military activity, including weapons testing, was strictly prohibited. Scientific research would be encouraged, and results shared openly. Territorial claims would be frozen, meaning no new sovereignty could be asserted while the treaty was in force. For the first time in history, an entire continent became a zone of international cooperation, a place where diplomacy and science were meant to prevail over ambition and conflict. Today, the treaty has expanded to include over 50 nations, from Argentina to China, each maintaining research stations and conducting studies in fields ranging from glaciology to biology, astronomy, and climatology. These stations are the front line of science. In summer, they teem with activity, scientists drilling ice cores, studying penguin populations, monitoring the ozone layer, and tracking climate change. In winter, many stations are left to operate autonomously, staffed by small crews isolated for months at a time. Despite the harsh environment, Antarctica has become a hub of cooperation and innovation. Data collected here has helped humanity understand global warming, sea level rise, and even the possibility of life on other planets. Yet, despite the treaty, Antarctica remains a geopolitical chessboard. Nations still maintain claims, some overlapping, even if they are officially frozen. The United Kingdom, Chile, and Argentina have overlapping sectors. Norway claims parts of Queen Maud Land. Australia maintains one of the largest claims, covering almost 42% of the continent. China and Russia, meanwhile, have strategically expanded their presence in recent decades. China's research stations, including the newly built Kunming and Taishan bases, are located near previously unexplored regions, raising questions about influence, access to sublatial lakes, and scientific leadership. Russia operates some of the oldest stations, with extensive infrastructure across East Antarctica. Every research station is more than just a laboratory. It is also a statement of presence, a reminder that while the Antarctic Treaty promotes peace, human ambition still quietly persists. Another layer of complexity lies beneath the ice itself. Antarctica holds enormous reserves of freshwater, enough to raise global sea levels by 60 meters if it were all to melt. Beneath its ice sheet, there may also be minerals, oil, and gas. Although the Antarctic Treaty currently forbids commercial mining, these restrictions are set to expire in 2048 unless renewed. This looming date has scientists and diplomats watching closely, because the continent's resources could become a flashpoint in a warming, resource-strained world. In other words, Antarctica's frozen surface may hide the next frontier of global politics, even as scientists seek to protect it. Modern geopolitics in Antarctica isn't just about nations, it's about scientific diplomacy. Research collaboration often crosses national boundaries. Teams from multiple countries share ice cores, radar surveys, and satellite data. Antarctic science has been an incubator for international cooperation, demonstrating how countries can work together in a shared pursuit of knowledge. Yet even here, rivalries linger. Nations compete for strategic positioning, for access to newly revealed sublatial lakes, or for the ability to map undiscovered regions of ice-covered mountains. In a world where water and mineral scarcity is intensifying, Antarctica's frozen bounty may one day shift from scientific curiosity to political leverage. But the treaty's success shows humanity can act differently. Unlike nearly every other region of the Earth, Antarctica has no permanent residents, no cities, no roads, and no private ownership. Its protection has preserved unique ecosystems: emperor penguins breeding on sea ice, seals resting on ice shelves, krill populations feeding entire food webs, and microbial life thriving in sublatial lakes. Scientists say that what we do in the next decades will determine whether Antarctica remains a global sanctuary or becomes a contested frontier. Every ice core drilled, every survey flown, every penguin population monitored contributes to a larger understanding of Earth's fragile balance. Human ambition has reached the farthest corners of the planet. Antarctica has witnessed explorers die for glory, scientists labor to unlock its secrets, and nations quietly asserting influence in its frozen expanses. Yet, for all the treaties, stations, and satellites, the continent remains mysterious and unpredictable. The ice still hides ancient mountains and lakes. Sublatial rivers still flow silently beneath kilometers of snow, and the very ground beneath the ice continues to shift, reminding us that Antarctica is alive, a world beyond human control. Despite our best efforts, Antarctica's story is now a balance between science and diplomacy, curiosity and caution, discovery and preservation. And the next chapter is inevitable: climate change. As global temperatures rise, glaciers like Foots and Pine Island are retreating, ice shelves are collapsing, and ancient waters and ecosystems are beginning to awaken. The choices humanity makes today will determine whether Antarctica remains a frozen laboratory for knowledge or becomes a stage for global consequences that reach far beyond its icy borders. The Antarctic Treaty may protect the land for now, but nature does not pause for diplomacy, and ice does not remain forever. In the final chapter, we see Antarctica not as a historical mystery or political chessboard, but as a living, changing continent, one that holds both warnings and promises for the future of our planet. The ice begins to melt, the hidden lakes awaken, ancient microbes stir, and the story of the last frontier is far from over. Antarctica has survived fire and ice, time and tectonics, myth and human ambition. For millions of years, it has been both cradle and tomb, a frozen archive of Earth's history. Yet now, for the first time, it faces a threat it cannot escape, the heat of our own making. Global warming is changing Antarctica faster than any human in history has witnessed. Ice sheets that have stood for millions of years are now thinning. Glaciers that were once slow rivers of stone are accelerating toward the sea. Even East Antarctica, long considered stable, is showing signs of vulnerability. The consequences are not confined to the continent itself. Antarctica's ice holds enough water to raise global sea levels by 60 meters. Even a partial melt could reshape coastlines worldwide, inundating cities, farmland, and entire nations. The ice that seems so eternal is, in reality, fragile, a mirror of humanity's impact on the planet. Glaciers like Foots, nicknamed the Doomsday Glacier, are the front lines of this transformation. Its melting is fueled by warm ocean currents eating away at its base, lubricating the ice so that it slides faster and faster into the sea. If Foots collapses, it could trigger a chain reaction across West Antarctica, destabilizing ice sheets that have existed for millennia. Scientists study these glaciers not just to predict sea level rise, but to understand the complex systems beneath the ice. Subglacial rivers, lakes, and geothermal hotspots all interact in ways that are only now being mapped. Each discovery deepens our understanding of how climate, ice, and life interact in one of Earth's harshest environments. But Antarctica's future is not only written in ice. Beneath the frozen surface lie ancient microbes and hidden ecosystems, life forms that have endured isolation for millions of years. Lake Vostok, Lake Mercer, and other subglacial lakes may contain organisms entirely unknown to science. These microbes are not just curiosities. They may hold clues to life in extreme conditions, insights into evolution, and even solutions for medicine and biotechnology. They are living relics of a world before humans, resilient witnesses to the rise and fall of Earth's climate. Yet they are also vulnerable. As ice melts and lakes potentially mix with surface waters, these ecosystems could be irreversibly altered. Humanity's footprint, even indirectly through climate change, could destroy life that has survived and touched for eons. Antarctica also holds lessons for the future of our planet. Its ice cores reveal past climates, showing the rise and fall of carbon dioxide, temperature, and ice volume over hundreds of thousands of years. By studying these frozen archives, scientists can model Earth's future, predicting not just sea levels, but rainfall patterns, storm intensity, and ecosystem shifts worldwide. In this sense, Antarctica is more than a continent. It is a living laboratory for Earth's survival. The frozen layers are warning signs and guides, whispering truths about how delicate our global systems truly are. Despite the threats, there is hope. International cooperation, grounded in the Antarctic Treaty, has allowed nations to work together on climate research, conservation, and monitoring. Scientists track penguin colonies, ice shelf integrity, and the migratory patterns of seals, whales, and krill species that depend on Antarctica's frozen seas. Global awareness is growing. Renewable energy emissions reductions and policy agreements may help slow the damage. But the challenge is immense. Antarctica is a continent of extremes, and the consequences of mismanagement are global. Some researchers imagine a future where Antarctica could even shape the next era of human exploration. Its extreme conditions serve as a proxy for other planets. If microbes survive in the cold, dark subglacial lakes, perhaps life can exist on icy moons like Europa or Enceladus. Antarctic research stations function as testbeds for long-duration isolation and extreme survival lessons for humanity's journey beyond Earth. The frozen continent may thus be our last frontier on Earth and our first window into the universe. Antarctica's story is a reminder of scale, of time, nature, and human responsibility. From its fiery birth to icy entombment, from explorers' triumphs and tragedies to the mysteries beneath its ice, the continent has witnessed the full sweep of history. It is also a warning. The ice is not permanent. The lakes are not eternal. The life forms hidden beneath kilometers of snow are vulnerable, and our planet fragile, interconnected, and changing depends on how we respond. Every melting glacier, every drilling expedition, every satellite scan tells a story of survival, discovery, and stewardship. Antarctica is both a mirror and a guide. It reflects the past, and it points toward the future. So, what is Antarctica? It is a continent of extremes, a laboratory, a myth, a graveyard, a secret world, a warning and a promise. And as the ice begins to shift once more, humanity has a choice. Will we preserve its frozen wisdom, or will we let it melt into history? The answer will determine not just the future of a continent, but the fate of the planet itself. And that's the story of Antarctica, a land of fire and ice, of secrets buried beneath kilometers of snow, and of life that has endured for millions of years. From its ancient forests to the hidden lakes and glaciers shaping our planet's future, Antarctica reminds us of the incredible power and fragility of our world. If you've enjoyed this journey to the bottom of the Earth, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I've poured countless hours into researching and bringing this story to life, and your support helps me create more incredible content like this. Thank you for joining me on this epic journey. And remember, the story of Antarctica is far from over. The ice is moving, the lakes are stirring, and the mysteries continue to await those brave enough to explore them.